Hello, Earth. Welcome to Episode 1 of Earthstar News. I'm your host, John Hanachek. Let's get into it.
Hello, Earth. Hello, Earth.
Earthstar exists at the intersection between doom and hope. First up, let's start off with some of the dangers. Hospital superbug eats medical plastics. Scientists at the Brunel University London have discovered that a bacterium can digest PCL plastic, a common biodegradable plastic used in sutures, stents, and surgical meshes. The bacterium uses an enzyme called Ep1 to break down PCL, reducing plastic films by 78% in just 7 days. The bacteria use plastic fragments as food, allowing them to survive longer on hospital surfaces and medical devices. Digesting plastic actually helps the bacteria build stronger biofilms, protective layers that resist antibiotics and disinfectants. Similar enzymes may exist in other hospital bacteria, potentially affecting more plastic types like polyurethane. There's some clinical implications here. Medical devices containing plastic may degrade faster than expected. Plastic-eating bacteria could drive persistent hospital outbreaks. Current cleaning protocols may be insufficient since bacteria can hide inside of the polymer materials. The researchers recommend screening for plastic digesting enzymes during outbreaks and rethinking hospital surveillance to include testing for these capabilities. The finding challenges the assumption that medical plastics are immune to bacterial attack and suggests plastic surfaces may actually provide nutrients for dangerous pathogens. Poison from below. Earth is being poisoned from below. Microplastics found in earthworms threaten crops, food chains, and human survival. In a groundbreaking study, scientists from the University of Sussex and the University of Exeter have discovered alarming levels of microplastics in soil-dwelling insects and earthworms, raising urgent concerns about the widespread impact of plastic pollution on terrestrial ecosystems and the food chain. The microplastics have infiltrated terrestrial soil ecosystems, not just the oceans. The study analyzed 580 samples from gardens, grasslands, and farmland. 1 in 10 insects contain microplastic in their stomachs. Earthworms show the highest contamination at 30%. Slugs and snails had 24%. There's a big food chain impact here. Microplastics move up the food chain from soil organisms to birds, mammals, and reptiles. We're mammals, by the way. Herbivores and decomposers showed highest contamination levels. Even carnivorous species like ladybirds contain plastics through consuming contaminated prey. Pollution sources, multiple origins beyond just litter, include clothing fibers and sewage sludge. Polyester was the most common plastic type found. This indicates diverse pathways for plastic entering the environment. This poses a significant risk to soil health and biodiversity. It affects organisms crucial for nutrient cycling and decomposition, and represents widespread environmental contamination. It's a call to action from these researchers. We need comprehensive strategies to reduce plastic production and consumption. We're going to need improved waste management systems. There's going to need to be coordinated efforts between scientists, policymakers, and the public. And basically, we're going to need to deal with plastic pollution. It's not a vague threat. The study reveals that microplastic contamination extends far beyond ocean pollution, creating a systemic threat to terrestrial ecosystems and the entire food web. The inaugural Earthstar essay was "Facing Our Waste with Grace is Our Salvation." And it's based on the reality that even as climate changes are happening, we are in the midst of perhaps an even more dangerous crisis, one that affects biology directly and is microscopic. It's not just the contamination, it's some kind of vague threat. It's truly alarming that another study found that microplastics may be accumulating in human brains, affecting mental health. Scientists are investigating a concerning possibility. Microplastic particles may be building up in human brains and potentially impacting mental health and cognitive function. They enter through diet and air inhalation. Once in the bloodstream, they reach the central nervous system. They may disrupt neurons and biochemical processes. Major source: processed foods. Dr. Nicholas Fabiano from the University of Ottawa highlights that ultra-processed foods, which involve industrial manufacturing techniques, could be a major source of plastic exposure. Laboratory tests on popular snack items reveal how easily these particles are consumed daily. Health concerns are that microplastic persists in the body for unknown periods. It may trigger inflammation or oxidative stress in the brain. Some researchers suspect links between chronic plastic intake and emotional difficulties. Studies connecting highly processed foods to depression raise questions about synthetic compounds' role. Expert warnings are quotation, "We've seen converging evidence that should concern us all," said Dr. Fabiano. Dr. Ma Li Wang wrote, "What emerges from this work is not a warning, it's a reckoning." Reducing the exposure. So there are some practical steps you can take. Replace plastic water bottles with your own glass or stainless steel. Avoid plastic-wrapped microwave meals. Seriously. Choose fresher foods with less packaging. If you have a farmer's market, please visit it. Focus on products with minimal plastic packaging in general. Future research, these scientists are planning a large-scale study to track exposure levels and brain function. The research, published in Brain Medicine, calls for more transparent food labeling and stricter packaging regulations if direct links between microplastics and cognitive health are confirmed. The findings underscore urgent needs for both individual action and systemic changes in food manufacturing and packaging practices. Well, that's all terrifying, and that's just a selection of the news that I track as part of my Earthstar work. But, it's not all danger and doom and gloom, because everything made from the Earth can return to the Earth. Let's look at some solutions for how we'll manage to not all end ourselves with our problems. Removal is possible. This one's cool. Scientists use fungi to clean up pollution from brownfields to wildfire sites. Researchers are harnessing fungi's natural abilities to break down toxins and absorb heavy metals through mycoremediation, a technique that transforms contaminated land into safe, usable space. How does it work? Fungi secretes enzymes that decompose complex pollutants like petrochemicals and pesticides into harmless molecules, while absorbing and concentrating heavy metals like lead and cadmium in their biomass for safe removal. This proven results, okay? Environmental toxicologist Danielle Stevenson's Los Angeles brownfield study showed that 50% reduction in organic contaminants after 3 months, with toxins nearly undetectable after 1 year. Heavy metal removal averaged 15 to 50% annually when fungi partnered with plants. Real-world applications. Post-fire recovery, mycologist Maya Elson uses oyster mushroom inoculated filter socks to prevent toxic wildfire runoff, expanding from California to Hawaii after the Lahaina fire. Urban cleanup. The technique offers a cheaper alternative to dig and dump methods that simply relocate contaminated soil. Conflict zones. Researcher Layla Darwish found fungi effective for cleaning war-damaged landscapes contaminated by explosives and herbicides. There's a big scientific foundation to this. The field actually began in 1963 when researchers discovered white rot fungi enzymes could break down industrial pollutants. Michigan State University's 1980 research on crust fungus degrading DDT and other toxins has been cited over 1,400 times. The expert perspective, quote, "We can transform contaminated sites into parks, green spaces, and affordable housing," said Stevenson, who emphasizes fungi won't save the world alone, but are powerful partners in restoration efforts. Soil microbial ecologist Maya Maltz confirms the results are possible and notes the growing scientific knowledge base supporting these nature-based solutions. And recycling all this waste really is possible. Bacteria has been discovered that eat forever chemicals in contaminated soil. Researchers from the Catholic University in Piacenza, working with collaborators from the University of Padua, have discovered nearly 20 species of bacteria capable of breaking down PFAS. Researchers found these bacteria in soil contaminated by industrial waste in the Veneto region of northern Italy. Although PFAS pollution isn't going away anytime soon, these new findings offer a glimmer of hope. Identifying PFAS-eating bacteria marks a key step towards sustainable cleanup of contaminated environments. The ability of these microbes to use PFAS as their sole carbon source is especially promising, showing real potential for natural degradation of even the most persistent compounds. Yeah, that's what we're all about here at Earthstar. A UK startup is using ancient bacteria to revolutionize battery recycling. Cell Cycle, a UK startup under the SER Group, has developed Lithium Cycle, a breakthrough battery recycling process using engineered microbes that are 50 million years old to recover critical minerals like lithium, nickel, and cobalt. It's a nature-based solution. The company leader Max Nagel explained the concept. Quote, "These bacteria have existed longer than humankind. They're 50 million years old and have shaped our coasts, islands, and the way that metal is formed and produced. While bacteria have long been used in mining and electronics recycling, no one had seriously applied them to batteries until now. There's a big advantage over traditional methods. It's very scalable. It only requires a bioreactor tank instead of expensive custom machinery. Bigger demand just needs a bigger tank. Versatile, it can handle multiple battery types, unlike plants designed for specific chemistries. Low energy. The bacteria thrive at just 37 degrees Celsius body temperature with minimal energy inputs. And it's self-sustaining. The bacteria regenerate themselves and feed off CO2 while returning oxygen. There's very minimal environmental impact. It's exceptionally clean. Quote, "We don't lose it as a byproduct of our recycling process," being carbon dioxide. "Any kind of effluent feeds right back through the bacteria," Nagel said. "The system could be carbon negative, not just carbon neutral." The UK currently has no battery refining capabilities and must ship waste abroad. So Cell Cycle aims to bring the entire recycling loop home with commercial operations planned by 2026. I mean, this is kind of a holy grail, guys, because as the world faces mounting battery waste from electronic vehicles and electronics and vapes, plus regulatory pressure and supply chain scrutiny, Cell Cycle's approach offers a sustainable alternative to current, expensive, energy-intensive recycling methods. As Nagel noted, sometimes the most advanced solutions aren't the ones we invent, but the ones we rediscover. There's a lot of wealth in waste. It's a core thesis of EarthStar. A new invention turns e-waste into 22-karat gold nuggets instead of toxic trash. Researchers at ETH Zurich, led by Professor Rafael Mezenga and senior scientist Mohamed Pedayesh, have developed a method to extract gold from electronic waste using cheese whey, a dairy byproduct that's typically discarded. The process, proteins from cheese whey are transformed into amyloid fibrils and then dried into an aerogel sponge with microscopic pores. When this sponge contacts dissolved circuit boards, gold ions bind to the proteins while other metals are filtered out. Results. In a laboratory test using 20 computer motherboards, the method produced 90.8% pure gold, 22-karat quality, and created a 450 milligram gold nugget that was 91% gold, 9% copper. Operating costs are about 50 times lower than the recovered gold's market value. So, I mean, cleaning up waste, it's not just about helping the planet, it's also going to be a huge industry. Like, get real. There's a broader impact here, obviously. The technique could work for other valuable metals like copper, cobalt, and palladium. It addresses the growing e-waste crisis, currently 63 million short tons annually per UN estimate, while avoiding toxic mining processes and hazardous recycling chemicals. As Mezenga notes, the fact I love the most is that we're using a food industry byproduct to obtain gold from electronic waste. You can't get much more sustainable than that. I want to invest in this company. All right, and finally, fungal reinforcement and taking inspiration from wasps. One of EarthStar's subscribers is a retired architect and my uncle. After reading the prior post about building methods, which if you haven't read that yet, go check it out, he sent me a fascinating article about how mud dauber wasp nests inspired a researcher to advance a more robust formula for earthen building. Lynn's team found that fungal mycelium can significantly enhance soil strength and waterproof the soil surface, highlighting its potential as a natural and sustainable solution for soil enhancement. So we can really see how fungus, it should be a lot more among us. All right, well, as we're wrapping up here, I hope you've been able to see that the EarthStar vision isn't just science fiction. It's based on real research that I've been exploring for years and real possibilities for facing our waste with grace and generating huge amount of wealth for us out of products that we used to consider only liabilities. A core tenet of the EarthStar vision is that computation, technology, and nature, these different concepts, are on a collision course as the necessity of our deadly situation and the power of creativity combine to create new ways of existing that emerge from our current unsustainable world. EarthStar imagines a future where everything is remembered as natural and waste is simply composted through human invention, mixing with natural possibilities to usher in an unprecedented era of abundance. Imagine synthetic robotic wasps helping construction crews in the near future, using resources foraged from the trash underfoot, synthetic crabs scattered around the world using electronic bacteria to become mobile waste reclamation and manufacturing assistance to cybernetic fungus. In a prior EarthStar post, I explored how a dump 20 years from now could become a site of remediation and economy, with synthetic organisms and fungi isolating useful materials from the toxic remnants of our foolish era. The kinds of gomins, as I call them, that will emerge from partnerships with plants and fungi and bacteria are probably beyond my imagination. But still, I'm trying to inspire. The plastic of this era, it might even still be around 1,000 years in the future, but so will our descendants, living in an abundant world because we chose today to surmount fear and scarcity and embrace what we could become. All right, everybody, that's been the first episode of EarthStar News. Thanks for hanging out with me. I hope that you found some urgency to start changing maybe some of your habits, but also some hope that, things that we consider waste don't have to doom us. I hope that this edition of Earthstar News helps you see I'm not merely saying these things in hope, but I'm really looking at technology and discoveries happening right now that can combine to create a sustainable future from even our doomed present. Feel free to share any related research you think your fellow Earthstars should know about, and request deeper dives into any of the topics I've covered here in the comments below. Please share this with your friends and family and enemies. Honestly, everyone is touched by microplastic. And please subscribe. And if you can, consider becoming a paid subscriber. This is what's going to help keep Earthstar going and grow and give us hope that the future doesn't have to be doom and gloom. It can be in abundance beyond what we've ever known. So until next time, stay grounded to the earth and let your imagination soar to the stars. I've been John Hanachek. This is Earthstar News. See ya.
Something.